Hey guys, coming at me another movie for guys. Now, this movie we're reviewing, this was a movie that I was definitely looking forward to. I would say I was really looking forward to this movie, but I was never like, oh my god, I need to see this movie like now, it looks amazing. I was honestly kind of worried about this movie, and that movie is The Martian. Mainly because I was worried that they were showing too much in the trailer, especially when you have a 3-minute trailer, it's usually not the best idea, and I was worried that the trailer was going to give too much away, and I really didn't know how this movie was going to be. But then I heard it was getting rave reviews at TIFF, and it's continuing to get rave reviews. It has like a 92% on Rotten Tomatoes, and I was definitely looking forward to seeing this movie. I saw it in 3D today, and I have to say that was a fantastic decision because The Martian is a masterpiece. This is truly one of the best movies of the year, will for sure be on my top 10. I absolutely love The Martian. I can't believe how much I really did love this movie, and I think it's definitely one of the most impressive movies of the year. Now, the plot to The Martian is very simple. The plot is very simple. I'm sure you guys know the plot. Basically there is this team of astronauts basically, and they are on this mission to Mars, and there's this intense storm that hits them. The rest of the crew leaves, and basically Mark Watney, who they think is presumed dead, is actually alive. He is on Mars all alone with basically nothing left. You know, he has some food, he has stuff like that. He really doesn't have anything left, and they eventually realize that he is safe, and they have to, that he is still alive, and he has to do whatever he can to survive, while they have to do whatever they can to try and save him. And that basically is the plot of The Martian. I think it's a very interesting plot. It's very compelling, and as simple as it is, it's really something that I don't think I've seen before, and mainly because of the way it's executed. First of all, the acting in this movie is something I was a bit worried about. This is a huge, huge cast, one of the biggest casts of the year. Every single person in this movie, for the most part, is a very well-known actor or actress, and I was worried that they really weren't going to get the time they need, and I have to say, they honestly all did a great job. I think everyone did a great job in this movie. Maybe some of them didn't get the time they needed, but that's because the movie really is about Mark Watney, or Matt Damon's character. And Matt Damon, is the sole star of this movie. And he kills it for sure, giving one of the best performances of the entire year. This is by far one of Matt Damon's best performances. I don't think it's his best. His best is still Good Will Hunting. It probably always will be. He kills it in this movie. He is really incredible in this movie, this character of Mark Watney. The thing I love the most about Mark Watney as a character, and the thing that I think most people are kind of forgetting about this movie, because I heard some people say, what makes The Martian so special is the character Mark Watney. He's very fascinating. You would think that because he is trapped on Mars, he'd be freaking out. He'd be trying to die. He'd have no hope left. But no, he is the most positive person you could ever meet. There is not one. Okay, maybe he is worried about what's going to happen to him, and there are times when he's like, oh, I'm going to die, but he's so positive and has such high energy, and you wouldn't even think that he's trapped on Mars. You would think that he's like trapped in his basement or something because of how optimistic he is. I mean, he does whatever he can to survive. Whenever something bad happens, he tries to find the good in it, and I thought that was definitely very interesting with his character, and I was also surprised by how funny he was. I mean, Matt Damon, this is by far one of the funniest movies of the year because of Mark Watney as a character. He is so funny. I mean, his little video messages that he does throughout the movie, and the things that he does throughout it, and the ways that he survives are very, very funny. And I don't want to spoil all them for you guys, but this is a man who clearly knows what he's doing. He's very calculated. He knows how to survive, and because of that, he is safe, but at the same time, he's also very annoyed because, one, he's stuck with this constant 70s music and these 70s sitcoms, which is one of the funniest things about the movie by far, but he's also, of course, stuck on Mars, and he wants to get back home, but he tries to make the best out of it, which I definitely really love, and I thought that was very interesting with his character, and especially since I don't really think we've seen a character like that before, and especially in a situation like this, you think they portray this in a very grim way, which they do. Something I liked about Matt Damon is that he did take this seriously. He didn't just play it, ridiculous throughout the whole movie. There are portions where he takes it seriously, like when he's forced to pull metal out of his stomach. I mean, that's no laughing matter. That's gruesome. It's brutal. It's very hard to watch, and I was surprised that this movie was PG-13 after watching that scene, but I thought he did an incredible job, one of the best performances of the year by far, and he definitely needs to be nominated for an Oscar because I think he's honestly one of the most iconic. I think he's going to go down as one of the most iconic characters in space movies just because of how optimistic he is. Jessica Chastain, I thought, was also really great in this movie. She definitely did a very good job as the commander. Definitely, she was really good. Kristen Wiig, I thought, was also very good, as was Jeff Daniels. Really, the whole cast was great in this movie. The only other person I really do want to point out is Chiwetel Ejiofor, who I did not expect him to give as great a performance as he did, but he was so great in this movie as Vincent Kapoor. He is the NASA mission director, and he does whatever he can to try to get, Mark Watney back home. He is so determined to get him back, and I really love about his character. Again, that optimism that he has, and he had some very funny scenes in the movie as well. That's something I also really liked, and the thing is, with NASA as well, they don't take things as seriously. They play it kind of fun, too, and I thought that was definitely something I've really enjoyed. Donald Glover was also hilarious in this movie. Definitely really liked his character. Definitely very good. And while people can say, some of the characters were underused, again, this all relies on just saving Mark. That's why they don't really have too much of a character, which I was fine with. Ridley Scott tends to do this in his movies. Alien, for example. Not a lot of the crew members have much of a character because it is Ripley's movie. Or, movies like that. Very much, that's something that Ridley Scott tends to do, and I was fine with that, honestly, that he did that. Which, speaking of Ridley Scott, let's get into the directing here. This is something I was worried about. Ridley Scott has not been making very good movies. I've seen some of Prometheus, it's pretty good what I've seen, but then you have movies like Exodus, where it hasn't really worked out well for him, and he's kind of had some hit and misses. And I have to say, this is definitely a return to form from him. This is probably his best movie since Gladiator. His directing is perfect. The tone of his movie, he's very aware of. That's something I definitely really loved, is that he is obviously very aware of what the tone of this movie is. This isn't a sad, bleak, depressing movie. He made it fun. He actually made it interesting, and I think he did that to keep us invested in the story and keep us interested, because if this would have been sad and bleak and depressing, it probably would have just been simply, I think it would probably simply just, be another space movie, but it's not because of how optimistic the movie really is, and that's something I definitely really liked. But like I said, he's not afraid to take some stuff seriously, and there are some very intense nail-biting scenes. He definitely did a very good job directing it, and I definitely feel that it is Oscar-worthy. His directing is fantastic. He did a great job, and I really feel that this is his big return to form. Especially this year, it seems like a lot of directors are getting their return to form, and Ridley Scott is one of them, and he definitely did a very good job with that. The screenplay was great. One of the best screenplays of the year, by far. Just one of the best screenplays, hands down. I thought the screenplay was phenomenal to this movie. It was so engaging. I was surprised by how into the screenplay was. I mean, even the scenes with NASA, I didn't think I'd be as into it, but I was really into it. I mean, there are different times where it seems like it's going to work out, but the mission fails. And you know what? That's very realistic. The way they play it is very realistic. There are several times where they try to get him back home, doesn't exactly work, and they feel really bad about it, and that makes sense. Things don't go as easily as they want it to go, and that's something that probably, if this scenario were to happen, that's probably how things would turn out, and I definitely really like seeing that. I thought they did a very good job with that, definitely. And some people say that they spent too much time on Earth and not enough time on Mars. I would say that's the complete opposite. I think we needed to spend some time on Earth because we need to see their scenarios. We need to see what was going on. I mean, people are really pissed at the crew, obviously. They're trying not to get the people pissed at them because the crew just abandoned him. People want this guy saved ASAP. It's very interesting to see the different reactions that people have to saving this man, who they don't even know, but they want them to save this man despite them barely even knowing him, and I thought that was definitely very interesting, and definitely one of the most thought-provoking things about this movie is the reaction that everyone had. Definitely, I really enjoyed seeing that. And also, the bonding of NASA was great. I definitely really love the bonding, and also the bonding of the crew and the commanders. They all worked very well together, and I thought this was probably one of the best ensemble casts we've had all year. Now, I wouldn't say this is an ensemble cast because, like I said, it is Matt Damon's movie, but besides him, the rest is pretty much, whoever you think the second main character is pretty much up for interpretation. I think Chiwetel Ejiofor is the second main character of this movie because he had the most screen time besides Matt Damon. Some people might say Jessica Chastain, but I think definitely Matt Damon is, the main character, obviously. Also, I forgot to say, Kristen Wiig, definitely very happy that she's doing serious roles. It's probably her first mainstream serious role that she's done, and she definitely did a very good job here. There's really no point in this. Something I like about Kristen Wiig in this movie is that there are points where she is funny. This is probably her most serious movie yet. She barely had any jokes in this movie, and I was very impressed by that. You'd think they would have given some of the actors that are considered, funny, funny dialogue, but they don't. Michael Pena doesn't really get the funny scenes in this movie, neither does Kristen Wiig. It's mainly Chiwetel Ejiofor, Jessica Chastain, Matt Damon, the characters you don't expect, the actors you don't expect to get the funny dialogue, get the funny dialogue, and I definitely really like the way they did that. It was a bit unpredictable on doing that, and it kind of showed the different layers that these actors have, and I thought that was definitely very well done, and I really enjoyed that. I also found this to be one of the most compelling movies of the year. Just seeing the struggle that he's going through and the different ways that he comes up with things. And also, some of the best parts of the movie by far is him interacting with NASA. There's this little computer he has where he interacts with NASA. Some of the funniest scenes I have seen all year. So funny to watch. He was killing in every scene, and you can tell the entire cast was having so much fun with this movie. I mean, you can just tell from the screenplay, and the screenplay was fantastic. I honestly feel this should be nominated for Best Screenplay because it's one of the best I've seen. Probably one of the best I've seen all year. Maybe, honestly, the best screenplay I've seen all year. I don't know. The cinematography. Now, like I said, I did see this in 3D. I would not say it is a necessity to see this in 3D. I'm not saying, oh, you gotta rush out to see this in 3D now. It is very important. You must see this in 3D. If you don't see this in 3D, you're doing a disservice to yourself. I would not say that. I would not say that we need to have this movie in 3D. I will say that the cinematography, though, is amazing. It is absolutely incredible cinematography. Every single year we have a movie that showcases space. Of course, ever since Gravity, they've been doing that. Gravity was 2011. Interstellar was not 2011. Gravity was 2013. Interstellar, of course, was last year's. And The Martian, by far, I think, has the best cinematography because it looks like it was shot on Mars. Honestly, I felt like they shot this on Mars, which they probably could because now there's water on Mars. They didn't know that at the time, and I think it's pretty funny, actually, that now that we know there's water on Mars, Ridley Scott's like, oh, well, we didn't know, so that's not going to be in our movie. I thought that was pretty funny, but cinematography just looks incredible to this movie. You really get a sense of how Mars is and kind of how boring it is. I mean, there's not a lot that goes on. He kind of does the same thing every day, but he tries to make it interesting. I definitely really like that. And it kind of feels, it feels like you're trapped there with him, definitely. And I definitely really like seeing that. But what I kind of liked about us being, with on Mars with him is it kind of feels like you're with this guy and he's entertaining you. It's like this could be very boring, but he's entertaining you, he's keeping you interested, and that's something I definitely really liked about the cinematography. It looked very good, and especially the scenes in space. There are some scenes toward the end had me on the edge of my seat. They were very intense, and I definitely really like that. And that's the other thing. This movie is filled with tension. The climax of this movie is one of the most thrilling climaxes I have seen all year. You really don't know how it's going to play out. If you haven't read the book, which I was glad I haven't read the book, you don't know how the scenario is going to play out. And this could have played out in several different ways. And I really like the outcome of the way it turned out. I thought it was definitely very well done, and it was an overall very good climax. Definitely something I really enjoyed. The score, like I said, I don't know if I said this before. If you guys don't like 70s disco music, you're probably gonna hate the score to this movie, and that's understandable. And that's kind of the point because Matt Damon's character absolutely hates disco music, and that's exactly what Jessica Chastain has left on board because they could only bring one flash drive, and her flash drive is filled with 70s music and 70s sitcoms, and some of the funniest jokes in the movie. But the score was so good. It added so much humor to this movie, and the way that he interacted with the score, the way this got on his nerves, and the way this really annoyed him, it was really, really funny to watch, and I was definitely very into that part of the movie. I thought that was definitely very funny, and seeing him yell at the 70s music, especially this one scene, there's a Happy Days reference in this movie. There's a part where they play Turn the Beat Around, and even at the end of the movie, this entire movie, they play 70s music, and I was fine with that because I don't hate this music. I honestly think it's pretty good music. I can understand it's cheesy, and it's not really relevant now, and it's not maybe the best singers ever, but it still is pretty fun music, and I enjoyed it for the most part, and especially Guardians of the Galaxy, it definitely gave me some vibes from that. This is not nearly as fun or as, just ridiculous as that movie, but it definitely at times gave me some vibes from Guardians of the Galaxy, which is always a plus in my book, definitely. Especially when, and this very much is like Guardians of the Galaxy, because Guardians of the Galaxy, that's a movie that they should have taken seriously, and they didn't, and they had fun with it, and it worked. The same with The Martian. You think they would take this very, very seriously, and they're not taking it as seriously as you think, and that's why it turned out as well as it did, because it stood out from other space movies at just being a more of a fun movie than it is a serious movie. That's something I definitely really liked. And I think that also goes with the editing. This movie is not short. It is probably one of the longest movies I've seen in 2015 because there actually haven't been a lot of long ones. It's 141 minutes, but it moved by so quickly, and I was into it so much. I mean, I checked the time on my phone because I thought the movie was going very fast, and I realized we were an hour and a half in, and I was like, wow, I'm actually really into this movie, and I realized that, oh, we only have like 2 hours left. We only have like a few, we were like 2 hours into the movie, and I realized, oh, we only have like 22 minutes left. And I thought that was definitely very interesting. I was definitely very into the movie. There was not one point where I wasn't into the movie, and I thought it was just overall very, very grasping, and I definitely really love that. And I thought that the editing was perfect. And like I said, people have said, oh, they spend too much time on Earth and don't have time on Mars. I thought there was a good amount between the two. I thought that you saw what Earth was trying to do, and you saw what he was doing on Mars, and there were some points where I didn't think we really need to see what was going on. Yes, there's time when time passes, and I can understand if, some people might have a flaw with this movie. Time passes in this movie, and you might be like, oh, well, why did we not see this? Why are we seeing this but not this? And I can understand that, but I kind of took it as they showed us the important stuff. They showed us what we need to see. They showed us what was interesting, and I was fine with that. I was honestly fine with what we got. I didn't think we really need to see anything else in this movie, and I pretty much thought we got all we really need to see. So yeah, I definitely really enjoyed that. Like I said, I definitely feel this movie is gonna get some Oscar nods, especially Matt Damon, and Chiwetel Ejiofor, and even Jessica Chastain. I think she could get some too. And at this point, this is one of the movies to beat at this point for Oscar contenders. I really feel out of a lot of the movies I've seen, this is one of the strongest ones that I feel is going to get some Oscars, along with Sicario. Saw Sicario as well, but Sicario I had a complaint with, and this movie I really don't, because I feel the cast is utilized very well here, and I thought the plot was very interesting. It was very compelling overall, and I overall think that The Martian is just simply one of the best movies I have seen all year. There's really no flaws in it whatsoever. I really feel this is going to become a classic. It's going to be a movie that we look back on years from now. People are going to watch it. I don't know if it's Alien. It's not Alien, but it certainly is Gladiator. It's a movie that we'll look back on. It's a movie that I think a lot of people want to watch. And I think it stands out as one of the most different space movies I've seen in years. Because let's face it, there's not a lot you can do with space. And there is a monologue towards the end of this movie. By the way, guys, stay after the credits. Stay after the credits because they do this little epilogue towards the end of the movie, which I thought was really cool. It kind of shows us where all the characters end up at the end of the movie, and I thought it was really cool they did that because I actually haven't seen a lot of movies do that, and especially because this is not a movie that's getting a sequel. It was kind of cool they did something after the credits that really had nothing to do with like setting up a sequel. It was more of just here's what happened to all the characters after this, and I thought that was pretty cool they did that. But there isn't much you can do with space. We kind of seen it all before. But there is a great monologue towards the end of this movie that Matt Damon has that I think pretty much sums up how different this movie is. It really gets into the logistics of space and what you can do on space and why he spends so much time on space just goofing off and things like that. And I thought that was definitely very interesting, and I definitely really like seeing that. And especially after movies like Gravity, Interstellar, people have compared this to that, and I don't think you should, honestly. This is a very different movie from those two movies, and I think it stands out as a much better movie. Interstellar is a movie that, yeah, I'll watch it every now and again. This is a movie I could see myself watching a lot. I can't wait for this to come out on Blu-ray so I can watch it again. I honestly might see it in the theaters again. Like I said, the 3D is not necessary, but I absolutely love The Martian, and The Martian does get a 5 out of 5 or an A+. It is a fantastic movie. I am so surprised by how much I love this movie. Second best movie of the year by far. It almost was my favorite movie, but then I'm like, this is not Mad Max Fury Road, okay? Calm down there. This is not Mad Max Fury Road. So, amazing movie. I really hope that now we are at the point in the year where we're just going to get amazing movie after amazing movie, because Sicario and The Martian both were amazing, and I really hope that, because 2015 has been very disappointing, movies like this are really starting to get me to be like, okay, now I think I can make a much better top 10 list than I had, and I hope that's true, because we are now getting some very good movies, and I really hope we continue to get some great movies. But that's basically my review of The Martian. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know if you guys saw this movie, you have seen it. I would definitely recommend this movie to you guys. Honestly, I recommend this movie to everyone. Yeah, there might be some tough scenes to watch, especially the scene where he takes the metal out of, where he gives himself surgery without any anesthesia or anything. It is a very hard scene to watch. But other than that, I honestly would say this is a good movie for families. I will definitely say that. However, there is a lot of like swearing things in this movie. I was surprised this movie wasn't rated R either, because they use the word fuck so many times in this movie, and I thought it was a rule you can only use fuck once, but they don't, and I thought that was kind of funny. But overall, guys, I absolutely love The Martian. Definitely check it out. It's an absolute masterpiece. I really, really did love this movie. I would definitely recommend it to anyone. And let me know if you guys saw this movie, have seen it. I will see you guys in my next video, which will be for day 4 of 31 Days of Horror, and I will see you guys for that. Okay, bye.